Welcome to the Coffee Journeys show, hosted by me, Piotr Zagorowski, author of the Coffee Journeys blog. In this show, I'll be sharing my journey from being a technical person to a leader and discussing topics such as leadership, technology, and intentional living. I'll be sharing my unique perspective and insights and offering guidance on how to develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed in today's world. Whether you're an aspiring leader, a technology enthusiast, or simply looking to learn more about the world around you, this podcast is for you. So, join me for the engaging and thought-provoking conversations on leadership, technology, and intentional living on the Coffee Journeys show. Hello everyone, welcome back to Coffee Journeys show. I'm your host, Piotr, and today we are going to be diving into a topic that's becoming even more important in our hyper-connected world, the art of digital detox. We will explore why it matters and how you can incorporate it into your life. And today with me is my lovely digital assistant, Droidella McElectron. Hello, Droidy. And I know you cannot wait to ask me some questions today. So let's get started.
Piotr, I recently heard you had an eye-opening experience with digital detox during your holiday in Poland. Can you tell us more about how this realization came about?
Yes, absolutely. It all began with my 3-week holiday in Poland. In fact, it began even earlier than that because I was preparing for this holiday, obviously using all my digital tools, to-do app and some other stuff, basically mainly my phone and internet and all apps, preparing where we will stay, what we will do, what's going to be happening there, what's interesting to see, where to go, and so on, including some new apps that I wanted to test and I heard they're good. For instance, there is an app in Krakow, in my hometown, that tracks all public transport vehicles, whether it's trams or buses, and I just wanted to test it, so I prepared everything. And I was using it throughout the holiday. I was checking maps, I was obviously checking in while I was flying, using e-tickets or digital tickets, and so on. So I was very, very much connected, and I was very much using everything digital. But one morning, I realized that I'm still glued to my phone. And I was there, I was sipping coffee and I was checking, let's say, weather, how it's going to be weather. I was then eating breakfast and checking where we're going to go on the map and so on. And I had this realization that my phone was always with me, even if the most mundane moments, it was total digital deluge.
It sounds like technology had become a constant companion. Could you elaborate on what you mean by the digital deluge?
Yes, of course. So basically what I mean by it is that, our screens are flooded with notifications. It's never-ending stream of information. And it's very convenient. I love technology. I love using technology for automation. It was actually quite difficult year for me, and it was quite busy year for me, so I was trying to automate everything, and I love it. So while technology offers convenience, it also can bombard us with distractions and overwhelm our minds, and it's basically essential to find a balance. And balance could be just trying to limit it, or even further, trying to do something we call the digital detox.
Piotr, for our listeners who might be new to this concept, could you explain what a digital detox actually means?
Yes, that's a good idea to start with the basics. So digital detox is basically something that we try intentionally disconnect from our devices and platforms for a specific period. and it's chance to go free of all technology and so on. I compare it often to fasting. So whether you try to eat healthy or maybe not so healthy, I mean, you get used to certain amount of food that we eat, and whether it's good or not, I mean, you can go towards to be overweight, and especially sugars, cravings, and so on. So if you go on fasting, even for one day, possibly 2 days or 3 days, like weekend, and so on, it will recalibrate your need for food, specifically for sugars, and then it recalibrate your taste buds, and you basically don't need to eat that much, and you try to eat healthy, and you go back to track on healthy diet, healthy food, and so on. And similarly with digital detox, it's sometimes very good. I love automating things. I love spending a lot of time with technology and trying to make sure that I can delegate, quote unquote, everything to you, Droidella, and technology that I built in background. But even though I still check if certain things run, if automations run, and I like to know if this runs, so there is a lot of notifications. So having this said, digital detox is basically trying to be conscious and intentional about okay, I stop doing podcasts, I stop doing newsletters, I stop everything. And I was already in holiday, so I didn't need to think about work, because my work is also connected into technology. And it was good to start thinking about digital detox. So basically, it is a chance to break free from emails, social media, notifications, and allowing to reclaim your mental space. This is what digital detox is all about.
You mentioned that engaging constantly with technology can lead to negative effects. Could you share more about why digital detox matters?
Yes, of course. So I already mentioned it. Constant interaction with technology, it's convenient, it's good, but it can also lead to something like shorter attention span. This increases stress and even may lead to some addictive behaviors. So digital detox offers kind of a reset, allowing your brain to recharge, focus, and find inspiration beyond your screen. I already mentioned, in comparing it to fasting, it's basically fasting from your technology. So it matters because it's like a reset for your nervous system and is recalibrating your kind of addictions even. I see it especially in kids where their brain is not so developed yet, and they just need break from technology, break from this addiction, and recalibrate their nervous system.
Now that we understand the importance of digital detox, could you walk us through the practical steps to achieve a successful detox?
Right, yes, of course. So what I've done and what I was thinking about is a few steps. So basically, first thing first, we need to have clear intentions. So first step would be setting clear intentions and define your detox goals. Whether it's reducing time screen or reconnecting to nature, or maybe spending some quality time with your loved ones, these intentions will guide you through the detox journey. And it's also important if you are not so good in the beginning, because you always grab your phone and going back to your usual stuff, scrolling endless walls and so on. I mean, always defining goals and whys behind these goals is important, because it will guide you back to why you're doing it and why it's important for you. Next step is try to implement small steps and be gradual. Sometimes it's difficult just to be like monk, like, disconnect everything or throw your phone away. Maybe you can start small, because it's important. If you go cold turkey, it might not work. But if you start with short period of disconnection and gradually extending them to build your proper digital detox muscle, it may work. It's similar with physical training. You don't go to gym and train for 2 hours, and the next day is just that. You cannot move, you cannot do any exercise, even sometimes stand up. You just do gradually, like, one push-up away, one step away, maybe 10 minutes away from your digital companions, if you like. Next step is somehow connected. So normally what drives us to looking to digital world and online world and so on is something that we know, and it's called FOMO. So it's fear of missed opportunities, or fear of missing out. And what I would say is that we need to embrace something I call the JOMO, which is joy of missing out and joy of missed opportunities. So we have to shift our mindset from fearing what we will miss online to embrace the joy of being present in the real world. And next step is leading from this step, which is exploring offline activities. We need to be happy being offline. So we need to rediscover hobbies that we can do, and they don't involve screens, like, painting, cycling, gardening, any activities that piques your interest that are not involving screens. I have a little bit of problem with it because I love podcasting, I love blogging, I love newsletters, creating, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like my hobby, but it still involves being online, being on screen. So for those who listen to this podcast, they know that particularly my wife, but I also helping, we are keen gardeners, and particularly we have allotment that requires some digging, some stuff to be done outside, and it's amazing. Like, it could be tiring, like digging this allotment during autumn, preparing it for next spring is actually quite demanding, I would say, and it's good because it resets your brain. So wrapping up this point is like, try to explore some offline activities that don't involve being online. And then I understand it might be difficult in the beginning, so alluding a little bit of small steps. Maybe you can go to next point, which is establishing tech-free zones. So you don't need to go all monk in the same time, like, just throw away all your digital life. Maybe you can establish zones in your home that are kind of like screen-free or digital-free spaces. For instance, bedroom could be a good candidate. You go sleep, you leave your phone outside, maybe charging, maybe something like you just go and you don't use your phone to connect. Another one is dining table. It's like we've been trying to do it specifically on our vacation, that when we eat, our phones are elsewhere, not on the table, because as I mentioned at the very beginning in the story, that I was having breakfast with my family, we were talking, but daddy was constantly looking on one eye on the phone, checking obviously good stuff like where we go and what we eat and what is the weather and so on, but you're not present. I was not present, and I was not there for my family, for my kids. So later on, we decided, okay, we have a little table near door where we just leave our phones, and when we eat, it is tech-free zone. So that's the this point. Next point is somehow connected. I already mentioned it. So it's mindful mornings and restful nights. This is going to be a little bit of side note, but one productivity tip that is enormous, and I heard it recently mentioned a few times, is work around your sleep. And this connects to this point, which basically is mindful mornings and restful nights. Basically, making sure that you begin and end your day without immediately reaching for your phone. So use those moments like mornings for reflection, maybe meditation, maybe journaling, and enjoying a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, just trying to reconnect to yourself, to your inner balance, rather than relying on your digital world to dictate how your day look like. If you look at your phone in your emails in the beginning of the day, often, I would say probably always, it will dictate how your day look like, because you may have some requests, you may have some notifications, whatever it is, it will start working in your brain and it will start affect your day. Similarly, during night or before night, if you start checking some news or screening, seeing something on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, it will start working in your head and you're constantly thinking about it, especially if it's like disturbing. You will not have this restful night. So it's important to be mindful of it.
Let's talk about the real-life benefits of digital detox. What positive changes can people expect to experience?
Absolutely. So when you're unplugged, you will open doors to various benefits. And let's talk about a few. First of all, you enhance focus and productivity. I already mentioned it. It works like fasting in a real world scenario. Reducing your digital distractions can lead to improved concentration and better work or study habits. It's basically resetting your nervous system and almost increasing your capacity for attention span, for all these good things that should be happening in your life. Another point, it will deeper connection and conversations. I already mentioned it during our holiday. We had tech-free zones, and without the constant distractions of devices, you can engage more deeply in conversations and create meaningful connections. That's obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Then another point, it reduces stress and anxiety. Stepping away from constant notifications can lead to a sense of calm and reduce anxiety levels. Again, FOMO versus JOMO. If I fear that I'm missing something, I need to constantly look. Someone likes this post, someone posts something, I need to reply, blah, blah, blah. If you shift your mind, you will be much more calm and anxiety will be not there because you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying you in the present. Another point is sparking creativity and inspiration. Allowing your mind to wander without digital interruptions can foster creative thinking and fresh ideas. I will give you an example. I like to listen podcasts. I like to listen audiobooks. Sometimes I don't have time, so I try to use any opportunity. Like before I go to sleep, I listen to some audiobooks. If I go for a walk, I listen to audiobooks because I can do two things in the same time. However, it's got some downside. So if you allow yourself to just disconnect from any digital input, I would say, it may lead to some interesting outputs, meaning that, this idea will come to your mind. You will make up some good connections. Your brain will start working on something that you already know, and so on and so on. You're basically allowing yourself to have like free canvas and be a little bit of bored maybe, but your brain doesn't like being idle. So it will always work, but if you allow your brain to work on something that you already know, it will make sense and it will come, especially if you decide to leave all distractions beyond.
Very good points, Piotr. Overcoming the urge to check our phones can be a challenge. How can we stay mindful and find a balance?
It's true, Droidella, and now they mention it. So practice mindfulness techniques to stay present and in control when the temptation arises. It's super important. And when we, let's say, go for a walk and we want to listen to something because we feel this urge, we can start some kind of mindfulness techniques like thinking about your breath, thinking about our surroundings, looking at a tree, looking at something beautiful. It makes sense to stop and pause and allow our brain to be free of constant interruptions from digital world.
So it sounds like finding that balance between technology and life is crucial. How can we establish a healthy relationship with technology?
Yes, that's true. Finding this balance is very, very important nowadays. We need to strive to find this balance between technology and real life offline. And we can use some tools. We can obviously think about it a lot, and we can be mindful about it. So I think that's the goal here. Like there are times where we want to be very, very connected and use technology and be very, very deep into it and automate stuff and basically working hard in the beginning. But then the intention should be here to claim this time later. So if something is happening in background because I automated it, we should have this time to rethink, to be creative, to think about something else, and to spend time with our loved ones and so on. So I think it's constant fight, especially people like me that love technology and love all digital things, to make sure that, you still want to learn something new, you still want to try something new, but then let's say weekend come and I want to be free. I want to be just offline, let's say.
And finally, Piotr, how can our listeners share their digital detox experiences with others?
Right. So if you have any experiences like this, if you have your own digital detox journey, let's share. You can use hashtag digital detox journey and let's connect and let's hear from each other what we're starving for, what is the healthy tech life balance, and how we can help each other. I know that there are certain tools that I mentioned, but I also know that some other people deal with this something differently or are having problem dealing with it. Let's connect and let's try to be with this together. I think it's important. I already mentioned this a few times. Technology is good. Technology is a tool. We want to use this tool consciously and to the best of our knowledge and to the best of our intention. But also we need to find this tech-life balance between being connected and user of technology, but also being offline and being with something that matters the most, which to me is our people that surround us, offline, nature, and so on. We want to strive for this balance.
Thank you so much, Piotr, for sharing your insights on the art of digital detox. It's clear that taking intentional breaks from technology can greatly benefit our mental well-being in this fast-paced world.
Absolutely, Droidella. And everyone, remember, a digital detox isn't about completely eliminating technology, but finding a healthier relationship with it. So by disconnecting, we can reconnect with what truly matters to us and regain balance in our lives.
Wise words indeed. And to all our listeners out there, have you tried a digital detox before? We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so please share in the comments below. That wraps up today's episode of Coffee Journeys show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay connected with intention, and remember to give your mind the breaks it deserves.
And as usual, thanks for joining, and we will catch you soon. And this is all I have for you today. I value feedback a lot. That's why I ask you to review my podcast in your favorite podcasting platform and give it as many stars as you think it deserves. By doing so, this podcast is going to be more visible and I can reach more people to provide value. And before you go, if you would like to join the community of people who are determined to help each other and grow together, join my newsletter at coffeejourneys.blog/newsletter. Thanks for tuning in today, and until next time, have a great